Just when you thought it was safe to go back on the internet, I'm back again with another edition of Phone Age News. Today's programme is brought to you with the number 23. And by the planet X. I find number 23 to be a very significant and interesting number. I've found a few examples. In the Bible, Numbers 23:23 contains the phrase, "What hath God wrought?" which happens to be the first message sent in code on the telegraph by Samuel Morse way back in 1843. Also in the Bible, Psalm 23 is also known as the Shepherd Psalm. All of us humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes in our genetic makeup. Well, most of us. According to the birthday paradox, in a group of 23 or more randomly chosen people, the probability more than 50% that some pair of them will have the same birthday. The Earth's axis is tilted at approximately 23 degrees. In Jeepers Creepers, the creeper appears every 23 years for 23 days to feast on human flesh. The 1980s TV series Max Headroom was set at Network 23. Before I carry on, there's someone I'd like you all to meet. I'd like to introduce you all to my little Pudsey. He's a bloody nuisance, aren't you? He's a bloody nuisance. Bloody flea bag. Pudsey loves chasing pussycats, don't you? And pigeons. Yeah, and where's on my jogs? He's off. Oh, I'd better get on with the show. Welcome to Phone Age News. Here's a bit of hopium from Electroverse, back from June the 25th this article. Disaster averted. Greenland has big turnaround and is now gaining ice in summer. After the slew of end-of-the-world articles last week claiming Greenland's ice sheet was on the verge of collapse and about to face another scorching annus horribilis, the sheet is in fact now gaining massive amounts of ice, something it doesn't often do at this time of year. I think they was talking about this bit here, and this blue bit. Let's zoom out and see. Oh, dear me. Dearie dear. So there's been a load of growth here. Oh, so what did it say? What was the wording? Let's have a look. Disaster averted. Well, it's been averted there, but I don't think there's any disaster's been averted anywhere else. Do you? It looks like it's taken a bit of a nosedive since that article came out. Let's have a quick look at the current Arctic sea ice thinness while we're at it. Oh, there's not very much left. There's been a lot of talk about how electric cars are going to save the day. But I'm just wondering, where are all these billions of new electric cars going to get their energy from? They've got to get their energy from somewhere. Now for a couple of articles I meant to show you in my last video, but I totally forgot. This is from the 11th. Russian nuclear submarine. Norway finds big radiation leak. Excuse me a minute, I'll just have a drink of my cider. Oh, that's bloody good. Bloody roasting. Took that out of the fridge. Norway has found a radiation level 800,000 times higher than normal at the wreck of a Russian Navy submarine. This from the good old BBC. So you can believe everything you read here. The Komsomolets sank in the Norwegian Sea in 1989 after a fire on board killed 42 sailors. A sample showed radioactive cesium leaking from a ventilation pipe, but researchers said it was not alarming as the Arctic water quickly diluted it. The Soviet-era sub is also deep down, and there are few fish in the area. Well, not anymore, there's not. Revealed serious damage, remote control vehicle. The submarine is also known as K-278 in Russia, and it sank carrying 2 nuclear torpedoes with plutonium warheads. Its front section has 6 torpedo tubes, and the sub could also launch Granite cruise missiles. Oh heck! And that's where it is, at the bottom of the Norwegian Barents Sea. The radiation leak found came from a pipe near the reactor, 800 becquerels per litre, and the background's 0.001 becquerels. However, some other water samples from the wreck did not show elevated levels. That's funny, isn't it? Russia has previously examined the wreck with a manned submersible and found radiation leaking from the same section. The levels we detected were clearly above what is normal in the oceans, but they weren't alarmingly high. Oh, well, just add it to all the radioactive waste that TEPCO's dumping in the Pacific off Japan. Screwed. Right. No Phone Age news report would be complete without venturing over to India. Let me just top my glass up. India's Mount Everest of trash is growing so fast it needs aircraft warning lights. This is from last week, from June the 10th, 2019. Brought to you by Science Alert. as tall as the towers of London Bridge. New Delhi's Ghazipur landfill continues to grow at a startling pace. Within a year, it is set to rise higher than the Taj Mahal, one of the country's most iconic monuments. Nicknamed Mount Everest by locals, the expansive pile of fetid matter is already more than 65 meters tall. As India's Supreme Court recently warned, it's well overdue for some aircraft warning lights. Imagine crashing into that load of shit. Ew. When Ghazipur first opened in 1984, this was of course never the intention. By 2002, the landfill had reached capacity at 20 metres and should have been closed. Today, the 21 million people living in New Delhi rely mainly on this ever-growing monstrosity and two other landfills, all of which hit maximum volume at least a decade ago. 2,000 tonnes of crap dumped there every day. 10 metres per year. Not only is the huge expanse of rubbish an eyesore, it's also a hazard. On multiple occasions, the East Delhi Municipal Corporation has tried and failed to shut it down. Well, were they going to put the fucking rubbish if they shut it down? Last year, the complacency of officials turned fatal. 2 locals were killed in a landslide after a section of the mountain collapsed from heavy rains. The deaths prompted a closure of the landfill and a landfill rehabilitation analysis from the US Environmental Protection Agency. I think they need to do a bit of recycling. Waste disposal practices are not well controlled, which has led to the formation of steep and unstable slopes, wrote the authors of the report. Subsurface fires, smoke emissions from the surface of the waste, animals scavenging waste, and informal sector waste recyclers were all observed during the November 2007 site visit. Informal sector waste recyclers. That's the poor bastards trying to make a living from scavenging what shit they can get. That's a nice way of describing them, isn't it? The conclusions were simple. Waste filling at the top of the landfill should cease immediately, and the EDMC should close the Ghazipur site and move operations to a new landfill as quickly as possible. New landfill, yeah. Just bung it all in the ocean. For all that, the closure only lasted a few days, and the open dump site has continued along the same lines ever since. And the stinky structure continues to grow with no end in sight. The risks for locals are manifold, because the waste on this mountainous pile is loose, uncompacted and exposed. It encourages aerobic decomposition and generates heat and methane. This means that under the right conditions, spontaneous fires can spark easily, further destabilizing the whole structure. During the landfill analysis, researchers also noticed a tension crack about 60 metres long and half a metre wide, a further indication of potential slope failures. What's more, the landfill has absolutely no linear system, which means it is sitting straight on the ground. All dumps produce something called leachate, but without something to catch this black liquid at Ghazipur, the whole thing oozes continuously into a local canal. It all needs to be stopped, as the continuous dumping has severely polluted the air and groundwater. Chitra Mukherjee, the head of Chintan, an environment agency group, told the AFP. Mukherjee. Well, plenty of muck there, isn't there? Residents of East New Delhi were complaining about the stinking pile long before a landslide claimed 2 of their own. Some have said the poisonous smell makes breathing virtually impossible. A local doctor said she sees about 70 people each day, mostly for respiratory and stomach ailments caused by the polluted air. Many are babies and children. Between 2013 and 17, it's estimated that Delhi saw 981 deaths from acute respiratory infection, and the rest. Indian cities are responsible for millions of tons of waste annually, and the numbers are only projected to rise. Members of the Aam Aadmi Party, which is the ruling party of Delhi, have responded to a petition to clean up the ticking time bomb within 2 years. They are also resisting a plan by city authorities run by the right-wing Bharatiya Janata Party to create 2 new landfills on the nearby Yamuna floodplains, which drain directly into a river. What a good idea! India is one of the world's largest garbage producers. The country is also facing a waste crisis, on top of a water crisis, on top of a heat death crisis. Unless something is done soon, the Ghazipur landfill and others like it may soon grow too large to clean up. Well, I think it's too fucking large already. How are they going to clean that up? Mount Everest of shit. Here's a picture of some informal sector waste recyclers. Here's a very recent article from I Fucking Love Science from earlier on today. Let me just clear my throat and have a few swigs. Yeah. Right. Online porn pumps out as much carbon dioxide as a small industrial country. Well, who'd have thought that? Our porn viewing habits are leaving a filthy footprint on the planet. Video streaming accounts for around 60% of all data flow online, which means it also accounts for over 300 million tonnes of carbon dioxide emissions per year. Since almost a third of streamed video content is pornography, online porn pumps out around 100 million tonnes of carbon dioxide each year, more than the annual output of Israel. Why have they singled out Israel? I wonder why. These figures come from a new report by the Shift Project, a French think tank that aims to limit climate change and our dependence on fossil fuels. In light of their findings, they argue that our digital consumption should be considered when looking at reducing greenhouse gas emissions, just as driving gas-guzzling cars and eating loads of red meat are. They also call on policymakers and architects of the digital space to consider the impacts of online services when designing digital technologies. Carbon emissions are produced by the electricity needed to power the production and consumption of digital equipment, including everything from data centers to your smartphone. This new report uses figures from internet services about global video internet traffic and its respective energy usage. Electricity consumption was then converted into greenhouse gas emissions. They concluded that online video viewing, which makes up 60% of the world's data traffic, generated more than 300 million tonnes of carbon dioxide, blah blah blah, 2018. For context, that's the same carbon footprint as the annual emissions of Spain. So, first they compared it to Israel, and now they're saying Spain's full of wankers. Pornography makes up around 27% of the world's streaming. Video on-demand services such as Netflix and Hulu account for around 34%, while Tube serves, like YouTube, equate to 21%. The remaining chunk was accounted for by Skype calls, cam girls, live video monitoring, and telemedicine. If you want to keep tabs on the invisible climate impacts of your web browsing, you can download a browser extension, which will use more carbon dioxide. For Firefox, that visualizes the electricity consumption and greenhouse gas emissions that your internet usage leads to. Alternatively, you might want to start thinking about more environmentally friendly methods of getting your rocks off. Hey! Personally, I've done lots of things to try and reduce my carbon footprint, but I think that's going a step too far. I ventured out earlier on this evening, took Pudsey for a walk round the park. Wanted to have a look at the partial eclipse of the moon. My Huawei P9 is not very good at taking photos of the moon, but there's a few bats flying about, so I was taking loads of pictures, hopefully to catch an image of a bat. Took a load of photos, and then I've come home and had a look. And on one of my photos, got this. What is that? And I run it through a filter. This is the original photo. Right, I'll put it in black and white. This is the moon here at maximum eclipse, just gone 10:30 this evening, UK time. This is caused by me flashing my camera. But I took loads of pictures, and then there was no other flash abnormalities. And this, I suppose it could have been, a meteor. But it does look to have a bit of a central bulge. Look at that. Well, I don't know what to make of it. Anyway, I'm going to be sending this straight off to Mr. MBB333. See what he makes of it. He's got better filters than I have. I wonder if dolphins were the dominant species on Earth, would they get pictures of fat ladies tattooed on their flippers? This is Stromboli live now, as I'm recording, on Skyline webcams. I could watch this all night. Been very active lately. It's the first time I've had a look at it today. Looks like it's proper kicking off. Had some proper good blasts last few days. than any Roman candle, that. It is Italian after all. Whee! Well, the Nostra Doomsday clock is rapidly approaching midnight. That Arctic sea ice is going to go down to a point where it can't keep the temperature of the surrounding oceans at around 0. You know what's going to happen then? My advice is just get pissed. Hopefully you'll be in an alcoholic coma when the time comes. You won't even know about it. I was watching this volcano. I love watching thunderstorms too. The power of nature. Are we going to get a blast before I turn off? I'll just pause and wait for a good one. Well, in 10 minutes and fuck all's happened. So I'll give you some advice. Don't bother having a survival plan. Fucking pointless. Unless you think the shepherds are gonna spare you. Well, it's going off a little bit now. So let's just watch this a little while longer. Oh yeah! Right on cue. I love the colours. Reds and oranges and greens, and like a real firework. Lovely. The ultra rich will survive for a little while. Will they be happy? Good luck to them. Take care of one another. Look after the people you love. That's what I'm doing. We'll probably do a 30,000 foot blast as soon as I stop recording. Bastard. Right. Till next time, thank you very much for watching. Been great. Please like and subscribe if you've not already. You might even want to share my videos. Ooh! Kaboom! Come on, Stromboli, you're capable of better than that. Seems to be picking up a bit though, from earlier. See you all next time, if there is one. Ta-ta!